I'm sorry, were you sleeping?
Probably.
I'm sorry, Julian.
No, you're good. You're good.
I
We
know you said later, like I was sitting on there and then I'm like, I wonder is he sleep because you like Jaden is always on there. So I got the blue on your Facebook. I'm like, dang, I'm like, well, I know he like to come on every day. So if he sleep, he'll forgive me.
yeah, you're good. I like to come on every day. So, man, we just had some company over is what happened. Um,
Oh, really?
I didn't get a chance to rest. And then
Oh, okay.
I'm like, well, let me get some rest. And it's like they let me sleep. They were gonna let me miss it.
But that, yeah, I started to not bother like when I call because I never call you on Facebook and I'm like he was so into insisted on 11 and 10 p.m. my time, so I'm like I'm up. I said, well, let me just call him and stuff because I know how you like to get on and stuff.
hmm Now I appreciate because if the more I would have woken up and come on at whatever time I would have woken up if I had to.
Oh, really?
hmm Oh man. Um, well, I'm up. I'm up. Yeah, so it was fun. It was a friend. She came with her children. So we
Mm-hmm.
had a house full of kids.
Okay. And
hmm
I text a number back that you had texted me from for Kristen. You know who that is? Or maybe that was
For who?
Kristen.
Mm, I don't know. Jaden, where's my phone? Hmm. Doesn't ring a bell. You see my phone?
Unless I had the wrong number.
Mm, I don't know. Oh man.
I may have had the wrong number. And they were like, oh, this is Kristen. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, I apologize, but my day is going good. How was your day at work with the students?
Today went really well. Um, we cleaned or slash organized one of our rooms. We have two teen rooms and then the big teen building. One of the teen rooms has a pool table, and that's where we got like the TVs, like three TVs. So we organized and cleaned it. Like I went in there and we like moved the pool table, like made some space. We hooked up the game systems. Um, so it was really good. We got a lot of work done. And then that makes us, I'm trying to get ready for next Saturday. I'm trying to have like a game day uh, and really like a tryouts. So I'm calling it like trying to create like a internet gaming league. So it's International Electronic Gaming Association,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like the NBA of gaming. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so then this upcoming week, I'm gonna be promoting it like we're doing tryouts for a team. So
Mm-hmm.
and then my goal is to then get as many people to try out. We'll probably spend the month of February getting trials. So we'll just have people try out, and that means they'll come in, they'll play the different games, and then my goal is to like create teams, and then have like the adults be coaches, um, and then young people can be coaches. So then basically, it's like create different teams within the city for these games, like the basketball. So there's basketball, football, Just Dance, Fortnite. So all the games that they like to play would be games that we would play, and each team would have to like play. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, I'm getting. I got the space ready for that. Like it looks good too. Um, anyway, so got the space ready. Uh,
That is really good.
yeah, I'm excited about it. Um, I mean, it's a big deal because I mean, I just can't imagine it not going. It's like everything is gonna go well. I just can't imagine it not going well. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's like why not? why wouldn't it work? Because
Have you gotten a chance to like sit down and talk with some of the teens and different things of that nature?
about what?
Just to see like what the kind of things that they enjoy doing.
Yeah, they got portfolios and everything. So
That's dope.
as part of me getting them ready is me, I got like different questionnaires that I've been having them complete. And then, sometimes they'll do it individually, sometimes do it as a group or a combination of the two. Um, so yeah, I've been doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's real dope.
Um, yeah, so like where we are now, like we've been recruiting, and my goal now is to just basically with the next group that I recruit is to just be able to have them complete their portfolio. I'll have them complete it. I'll have them complete it at a faster rate as part of. I'll have them complete it as part of enrollment.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, rather than waiting um, for them to for a long time to complete it, they can be able to complete it up front as they're getting signed up, and then putting them into a team right away. Or at
Okay.
least having them enter, like I'm doing like a draft, like, so you go, you show yourself playing, and then
I'm sorry, I'm on the couch. I went to physical therapy this morning and my leg was wrapped up.
oh, you're good. um so kind of like think of like baseball, when you send your kid to like a baseball tryout, they go, they play a little bit, and then the coaches choose the players they want. So same concept.
Mm.
Yeah. So then that was today. I mean, let me see what else. Um, Took them to the mall so that they can get some food. Um, so that was cool. They went and went to the food court. I let them get their food, and they kind of got to walk around for a little bit before we went back to the office.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
Yeah. So it was a cool vibe today.
Today was remotely at home for me.
Okay.
After I came from my appointment, we just had appointments, and I just had a like the meetings that's online for work and stuff like that. So everything seems to be going pretty good. The recruitment lady that was hired, I guess she's going to be working with the lady that is in the office with me, from what I found out today. Um, at the college, because the adult education program, we have it at our, we're through the college, so we're with the adult education program. How that's gonna look, I'm not exactly, like for sure yet. Because I know my boss had mentioned that she will be working with me some, so I'm
Okay.
not exactly sure how that's gonna look. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to being able to start an adult education program at my school. But I'm just focused
That's
on.
nice. That would be so nice. With like, and then like that'll be super dope with like the GED and stuff like that.
Mhm. I'm just focused first on getting the team program up and going. That way, it's like, all right, this is what I got hired for. Let me go ahead and get that out the way, and then I can focus on everything else. Um, that way, I can at least get my main job done, and then the other stuff would be easy. But
Mm-hmm.
there's no reason why we can't do it. I mean, we got the facility. I can do hybrid. We could do like virtual. We could do a combination of virtual and then on-site. So we could meet earlier in the day while the teens come later in the afternoon, so we can meet earlier. Um, yeah, and it's like, and I can kind of like do like a youth build style program where it doesn't have to just be construction. It could just be like work in general, like a work readiness program or / entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
So because it's basically the same thing that we offer the young people, we can offer the older people. So I already have
Of course.
um
And one thing about you, like, I mean, of course, you're like driven now with working with the teens because that's what is like the center is focused on, more teens. You're good at working with all age ranges. You know what I mean? Because I mean, look at me in my age range. You know what I mean? Like, we've been working together and stuff like that. But one thing I like about it though is that like you kind of sit back and you listen to like exactly like, okay, say for instance for myself as an example, like what I have to offer, what kind of experience I got, what I'm looking to do, what do I think, like all those scenarios, and then it's like you contemplate and you feedback off of that, but you feedback off of it from a perspective of realness. Like you don't go off into like something like by a book. You go off the knowledge that you have, but it's also proven knowledge. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah, I
To the
appreciate
point
that.
where you know how sometimes people be like, okay, well, can you prove that? Like, you don't even give nobody the chance to even ask you that because like you already prove it like right then and there. And like a lot of people, they don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like when you working with somebody in the company or something, they'll tell you like so much, but they don't show you like, okay, here's proof of this. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes if it's something that, how can I put it? Like you'll go straight on the internet and you'll go straight to it. Like if it's a topic, like when me, you, all of us be on here and stuff. And I was thinking about that earlier as I'm reading the book that I'm reading. You know what I mean? Because it's talking about vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
And with vulnerability, it
Oh,
comes
you're talking about the
stress.
Brene Brown?
Yeah. And with
Yeah.
vulnerability, it comes stress.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still in the beginning part, so I haven't got too deep in it. And it had me thinking, like, Julian did tell me I need to start trusting the people I'm around. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I need to start trusting them. And this week has been a really, really good week. You know what I mean? To the point where I'm like, okay, I'm opening up. I'm starting to trust individuals. Okay, this is gonna be a really good outlook for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Being vulnerable is such a big deal. And being vulnerable makes it easy to be successful today, especially if you're online. Because people are attracted to authenticity. People are attracted because the thing is like when you're vulnerable, then that is when you're giving people an opportunity to grow. They're able to like see themselves in your story. And then they have something to be able to connect to. But being vulnerable is huge. And then the personal benefits of being vulnerable is like it gives you confidence, because it's like can't nobody judge me. Like can't nobody judge me. I'm putting my all out there. Which like I already judged myself but when you're being vulnerable, it's like you already judged yourself. That's why you feel comfortable even talking about whatever you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I really like hearing like authors like Brene Brown. So I haven't read that book. However, like I've heard interviews of her. Um, and I think you can get a lot by hearing like authors' interviews. So like if you go online, let me see. I think there's this one person that just came to my mind that I'm pretty sure he interviewed her. Let's see. Yeah, I think he did. Let's see. Mm, let's see. Either way, I'm not seeing it off top. I'd have to go to YouTube. Let me go to YouTube and check her out. Um, oh, but yeah, like so. For instance, that the lady that you said that writes books that you met from Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
like we should interview her. at
Her
some
name is
point.
Robin Robbins.
Robin Robbins.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a cool name. Robin. That's a cool name. Okay, so Tim Ferriss. Has she been? Okay. I'm like looking at who's interviewed her. So I've seen an interviewer that I like, but I haven't seen that interview of them. So I'm gonna like copy it and paste it.
She's dope, Julian. Like,
Yeah. But I'm saying like you want, but if you think she's dope, like imagine watching her getting interviewed where she
she
can.
is actually, she has different stuff on her Facebook page,
Mm-hmm,
where she go live sometimes. And she's like a coach too.
mm-hmm,
So like individual empowerment coach for entrepreneur women.
mm-hmm,
So she has like sessions and different things like that, you know, like she charged them and stuff, but it's all like on her Facebook page.
mm-hmm. So this is what happens. Whenever people write books
Mm-hmm.
about about topics like self-development,
Mm-hmm.
there's like a group of people that are like the gatekeepers. Jaden, could I could I get some water, please? So I'm gonna like I'm gonna put their names in the chat. So here, this is key. Um, so for instance, for what I like to talk about, you know, like the book that the mini book that I've written and everything that I like to talk about. Um, I'm supposed there is a blueprint on how to go viral, right? There's a blueprint that I could follow that blueprint or I could make my own. So I'm trying to make my own blueprint, but I'm really trying to recreate the wheel. There's an easier way to do it, but I'm not trying to go that way.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the name I put in the chat?
Yes.
So these are going to be the names of people that if I'm trying to become popular, I would send them Facebook messages. Like I would contact them until I can reach them. Like my job would be so let's say that you write a book and I'm on your team. I'm gonna like bother these people until they accept to listen to you. So I'll try to like create a whole marketing campaign so that they can get to know you. So like if I wanted to do it, and then I would, when I do my ads, I would target their customers. Like the people that watch them would also like to watch us, for instance. All right, so
Mm.
he's one. Oh wait a minute. Okay. Okay, where are we at? Um, so I did not see an interview with her with Tom Bailey. I have seen one with her and Tim Ferriss. Meaning when I looked at when I looked briefly, one I haven't seen that Tom Bailey has interviewed her, but I'm sure he has. I'm just surprised I don't see it. But now I'm gonna show you the people that like. There's a circle, so we would go to Tom, you would go to Tim. So every time that someone writes a book, they go on tour online, meaning they'll go to these people to get interviewed to talk about their new book, and then that's how the people find out about it, and then their book will, you know how they got like bestsellers or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
like New York bestsellers. So that's it's a game. It's a game, and all you got to do is play the game. Um, and playing the game means going to these people. They're like the modern day gatekeepers. But you know, after many years, I do respect them. I mean, I think that they're, yeah, I like their work. You know, I like their work. Um, okay. And if I'm not mistaken, all these people that I'm putting on there, they should also, if I, off top of my head, I think they all have their own books. Like Tim Ferriss, he has like really good books about productivity. Like he got it's called the 4 Hour Work. His most popular book is like the 4 Hour Work Week, 4 Hour Work Week. Um, and that's the one I can think off the top of my head. But then there's a lot of them that are along those same lines. Um, oh, not that one. Okay. That Mary Forleo, I'm not even sure how to pronounce her name correctly.
Mario Forleo.
Yeah, Marie Forleo. You would really like her as so she's like a young a younger version of Brene.
Got you.
So she's like on, oh, and they even look, they have one together. Oh, let me, okay. Yeah, so like if,
in this episode of Marie TV,
okay,
we do
so boom.
have some adult language. So if you have little ones around, grab your headphones now. Hey, it's Marie Forleo, and you are watching Marie TV, the place to be to create a business and life you love. And you are in for such a treat today. We are sitting down with one of my friends who is quickly becoming a cultural icon, and we're going to have a very important conversation about topics that are relevant today and for the rest of your life. Dr. Brene Brown is a research professor at the University of Houston, where she holds the Huffington Foundation Brene Brown Endowed Chair at the Graduate College of Social Work. Brene's TED Talk is one of the top 5 most viewed TED Talks in the world with over 30 million views. She spent the past 16 years studying courage, vulnerability, shame, and empathy, and is the author of 3 #1 New York Times bestsellers, The Gifts of Imperfection, Daring Greatly, and Rising Strong. In addition to her writing and research, Brene is the founder and CEO of Brave Leaders, Inc., an organization that brings evidence-based courage building programs to teams, leaders, entrepreneurs, and culture shifters. Her latest book, Braving the Wilderness, The Quest for True Belonging and the Courage to Stand Alone, is available now. Brene! Hi! Oh my gosh. I love you so much. I love you too. We've wanted to do this, I feel like, for so long. And I'm so appreciative that you said, girl, can you come to Texas?
Did you go to Buc-ee's?
I went to Buc-ee's. So you
I
guys,
made her come just for the ice house and the gas station.
so short aside before we get into the amazingness, okay, the amazingness of this new book, which this is my galley copy, and you can see, guys, I have all these little orange tabs in there. So as an aside, come to Texas. Driving around last night, I have never seen a gas station so big in my life. And I heard about Buc-ee's, and I go into Buc-ee's, and I was like, this is a wonderland of goodness. Yeah.
It's like tires, raincoats, fudge,
Squeaky pigs.
squeaky pig. You got it.
And then the one thing which I will show you guys, we might actually cut it in, is this beautiful stone piece where you put a wine bottle on top, and then it's a spigot. And I was like, that's the kind of gift a girl like me needs.
You gotta trust Buc-ee's.
You gotta trust Buc-ee's.
My husband and I are always waiting to see if it goes public. I'm like, today we're buying in.
So, okay, getting to the real stuff. I want to start. First of all, this book is incredible. I texted you that. It made such an impact on me. I think this is the message of our time, and I'm so glad we're going to get to peel into it. I want to start with the Maya Angelou quote that you share. You are only free when you realize you belong no place. You belong every place, no place at all. The price is high, the reward is great. let's dig in with what does true belonging mean and why this message? Why now?
You know, Maya Angelou has been my most steadfast counselor for my entire life. I discovered her probably 30 years ago when I was in college. And I lean into her work. You know how when you find those people that just are unsparing and honest in their work, but they also bring you joy and comfort? She's that for me. And I love everything she does except for that quote. That quote has pissed me off for decades. And I never understood this idea that you're free when you belong nowhere. And as a social scientist, I know that belonging, I know this for sure. Like if you ask me the one thing I know for sure, 200,000 pieces of data. I know in the absence of love and belonging, there's always suffering. That I know for sure. So this quote from her about belonging everywhere, which is really nowhere, is what sets us free, was so troubling to me. But then I started digging in and I started trying to understand, what does it mean to belong? And I never thought of the concept of belonging. I thought belonging was like, we have a crew, like
a posse or
yeah,
a
we have
squad.
a squad.
Yeah.
And belonging is something you kind of negotiate with external groups of people, but it's not. What I found very quickly is the rest of that actual quote is part of an interview that she did, where she ended with Bill Moyers, where she ends up saying, you know, he ends up pushing a little bit on and saying, so are you saying that you belong nowhere and to no one? And she said, I belong to Maya. And what I found is that true belonging is a spiritual practice. And it's about the ability to find sacredness in both being a part of something, but also the courage to stand alone. And the people, for those of us who struggle to have the courage to stand alone, especially when we know that we're risking that sense of being a part of something because we disagree.
Yes.
Because we have a different opinion, because we love something different. That is the mark. That's the mark of true belonging, to be able to say, yes, I am a part of something bigger, but I also will stand alone when I need to. And then it was like, oh, shit. You belong everywhere and nowhere. And that is liberation.
Yeah.
That's dope.
So
Yeah. So you see like the power of like the interview, like it brings it to life. But yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited to be on this journey with you. Like,
thank you so much, Julian. I really like you and my mentor, as well as my counselor. Like, I really, really like have a very, now my boss too, you know, like everyone is supportive, but like you three are like really close, like close to me. You know what I mean? My boss is just like, she give me the thrive that you gonna make it, Alexandra. I got you. You're gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying? And with that thrive and with the help of you all, like the help that I get from you all, I get different kinds of help from you all. And what I mean by help is the encouragement, the for me to keep me pushing, keep me going. You know what I mean? Like everyone in the office, they don't know you. They hear me talk about you. They hear professional development, but they don't know you. But guess what? Before I started working with you, I had not. It's been a while since I had taken my GED test. I have enforced it on myself, and I've been so determined to get everything done. You know what I mean? Tonight, before the meeting, I'm glad we did schedule it late. I took my science practice test. I scored a 153. I'm ready.
Whoa.
So yes, I'm ready. I scheduled it for this week. And I know my counselor, I was like, I don't care. I'm texting her. I said, I'm sorry for texting you this late, but I got to let you know this. She said, no problem. I'm happy for you, Alexandra. But it's like this journey that I'm taking. It's like, God, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And then for the fact that,
man, 153, you had like a 143. That's like 10 points in a week.
yeah. I've been reading, like I would read, Julian. Like I really, like my mind is so focused into reading. It's like anybody that get around me and be like, she act like that over books. Like it's mine. It soothes my mind to read. because I can be somewhere and I can be in a whole nother world with reading a book. Like my mind can go somewhere else. I can visualize the story how I want it to be. One thing about reading is that you can visualize it to where you said to where everything is going on at. You can visualize it. You know what I mean? Like you can have your own perception of it and know the meaning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
That's
people don't
fun.
understand that. And I mean, like, I showed the book that a book I just showed you that I said I'm gonna read it up next. I showed it to my mentor. He was like, "This looked like a good book." And he was just looking like whoa, I really been reading, but it's soothing. It's soothing to my mind.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I get it. And it's like after every book, it's almost like you get even more confidence and more confidence. It's like, you're building up your tools. So, because it's like the thing I like about, so here's the thing I like about books. In books, the authors give you like the best of them. Like all, like she took all these years to study about, is it Darian Greatley? That's the one that you're reading now?
Yeah, Darren Greatly.
So she's been researching like vulnerability. So for her to be able to like write that book on vulnerability, that means she's read other books on vulnerability. She'd studied like research papers on vulnerability. She's created all kinds of situations and scenarios to be able to talk about it. And then she's putting all those years of information into a book, you know. So then it's almost like you can live 2-3 years of experience just by reading one book. So imagine the more books that you're able to read, is like you get all these years that you can add to your own experience, especially if while you're reading the book, you're processing it, taking notes, and then seeing how it applies in your personal life and comparing and contrasting. Oh, I remember when I heard that like making connections, because then you really absorb the book,
And
and
not
that's why.
only that, like the books that I'm reading now, I thought to myself, I said, continue to read, keep reading, Alexandra, keep reading, because you're getting a taste of all different type of authors and their style, and it's going to help you determine your style of writing your book. So just you keep writing in that notebook on your story and keep reading, because they're helping me from all different spans. That's from the professionalism in my writing, my storytelling, how I'm going to tell my story, how the readers are going to react to my story. You see what I'm saying? I want to deliver it in a way where it's presented to the point where an individual is going to continue to read it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna tell other people about it. You know what I mean? Like me reading this book, it's giving me the things I need and get me equipped to how. Okay, look, like you said, I just learned more about her, about how she did her story, how she researched and everything like that. But it's teaching me how a person can go this far, what she did just to write this book. And there's no rush in me writing my book. It's levels to this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to write a old small book with maybe like, not saying it's nothing wrong with small books, but my story is longer. You know what I mean? My story is a very long story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I mean,
I
and
want
then
to
the
be
thing
able to
is,
go. I want to touch people's souls. I know it's in my heart. You know what I mean? When I walk into a room, I don't want to be so fan based to where, people are just to the point they can't get no autograph from me, or I'm me. Now the fame and all that is gonna come along with it, you know what I mean, eventually. And I'm okay with that, because I'm to the point where when people walk in the room, I'm not no sedity person. I'm not, I had people in the past tell me that. Like, girl, I thought you was stuck up. I thought you and they get to talking to me and see how I am. They be like, you cool. I had people tell me that a long time ago. You know what I mean? Like, and I be looking like, I may not look like what I've been through, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. And at the same time, like, I want to touch souls to the point where I don't want to just touch women who's been battered or, different things like that. I want to touch men and I want to touch women's souls. Because when you read a book and you have this label on it, oh, this is for battered women, it's a lot of people that will just automatically say no to it because they don't dwell in that type of area.
So think about men. Like, see, this is what happens with men. Like, men that don't respect women, men that think that men are better than women.
They're not gonna even think about even reading my book.
No. And like not just yours, but Brene Brown's book, Marie Forleo's book, like, and then it's only their loss. Like men that like, oh, what does a book on vulnerability? How's that gonna help me in the business world? It's a lot. Like
a lot, like you said, a lot.
Yeah, like if you don't include these principles, you're not gonna know how to manage your team. You don't know how to manage a team. It's just a matter of time before your business goes under. Like or you build a bad reputation, within your own organization. So there's a lot of men right now that because they're not in tune with female authors, they're missing out. Like for a long time, I found myself that I would keep listening to men interviews, and then finally female interviews started creeping in. I was like, okay, cool. Now this is where it's at. Not that the men don't address these topics, but they don't address them the way that the female authors address them. So I'm grateful to have been exposed to a lot of the female authors because they speak on it from a different angle that is very beneficial. Like it hits different, to use that word. It hits different listening it from a woman's perspective. But a lot of guys are locked in trying to make money, and they don't see the connection between talking about empathy, talking about vulnerability, talking about shame. They don't see the connection, but then these are the same individuals that are in relationships where they can't connect to their wife, or they're in business relationship where they get stuck and they can't seem to go higher, but it's really because their mind is closed to like women, and maybe they don't want to give women more leadership roles in their organization because they think that the women don't have what it takes to make it in the business world based on their judgments about it. So yeah, like I think that it's great to see like female authors coming out and being able to talk about these topics that are not what people would necessarily associate with business, because business minded books is kind of like what people want to read, like when it comes to entrepreneurship. But now a lot of behind those hard skills on entrepreneurship, there are these soft skills or the emotional intelligence that a lot of guys just miss, and then unfortunately a lot of women miss it too if they're trying to pursue a path based on what the mainstream is telling them. If the mainstream isn't giving attention to like awareness of self, emotional intelligence, then they might focus on some of the other books that don't quite connect to it. So I'm excited for you on this journey because like so there's like levels to knowledge and knowledge seeking. I always used to wonder, like, why are old people so much into reading like autobiographies? Like, I could not understand that. Like, to me, that was like, why are you spending all your time? And then now, like, I just want to see interviews, So for instance, the book that you're reading, Daring Greatly, Was that like, that's like that's not her latest book. So that must be like at least 6 years old, maybe, right? 6, 7 years
I'm
old.
not exactly sure. Let me see. I got it right here in front of me. It was copyrighted in um, usually hold on, I'm looking for like the year on it or whatever.
Looks like, let me see. I see one that says 2005. No, I see an earlier video than that. Let me see. Originally published in 2012. Is that the same one? Yes. So it looks like it was originally published in 2012. I wonder, it may have become popular a little bit later, or maybe that's when she
I
started.
think it's become popular later. Because I actually found it. I wish I would have copy and pasted you that too, Julian. When I started looking for videos and I'll be watching them clips and stuff on YouTube of people and how they read it and what it did, I'm gonna start sending that to you too.
Okay.
But this was copyrighted in 2012. You're correct. I think it became popular later though.
So what it looks like, it looks like she became popular after she did her TED Talk. So a lot of people, that's how they become popular, after doing a TED Talk, or in modern times. So that's what I'm saying. So for instance, if you
could you imagine me doing a TED Talk?
Well, I mean, okay. She did a TED Talk in 2010. So she
talks about it in her book. She mentions TED Talk so
but
far.
she did more than one TED Talk. So I'm wondering, I wonder which one really like catapulted her career. Yeah, so I could definitely see you doing it. Now, so here's the part this is where I'm at with it. Like, I know that that's the way of doing it, but my personality wants to find another way. Like, it's like, so now for you, like, great if you want to do it, but then what I'm saying is like, I also want to break in, but I don't want to count on none of these people to do it. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so this is, okay, boom. Let me tell you something about me that will give you information as to how I go about doing things.
Okay.
So when it comes to like, I used to want to write a book, right? I wanted to be an author. Well, I realized that I wanted to be what authors write about. So I wanted to live a life that would make authors want to write about me, So then when you think like that, that allows you to be a little bit more patient. And what that means is like I want to be able to teach through book, right? Like through being able to tell a story, but then I want to be the story as well. And by that, I mean, like, I want to be able to, like, so for instance, at work, like, working with the teens, like, I'm excited about having such an impact at the Quality Life Center that that in some future time, people are going to be like, yo, I want to tell that story, and then, so then that's my approach to it. So then I want these individuals here to contact me versus me contacting them. Like, I don't want to contact them so that then they can promote me to their platforms. I want their platforms to be like, yo, you should get so-and-so on your show. Yo, you should get so-and-so on your show. And then that would be the order that I would want to do it. But in case, for instance, but if you wanted to follow the existing blueprint, then that's pretty much what it is you go viral. The easiest way to go viral is to do like a local TED Talk, but basically you go viral, and then you write a book, and then you go viral, and then you take your book on a tour to these individuals who have shows like Tom Bilyeu, Tim Ferriss, Lewis Howes, Russell Brand. They all have shows that they do. You see how we're doing this as a show? So they all have a show. And then every time that they write books, then they all go to each other. And then that's how they promote their book. And then they create advertisement for their books on YouTube, and some of them use Facebook, some don't. But basically, after you write a book, do a TED talk, promote the book, advertise the book, create a show, promote your show, interview other people that are into what you're into, write another book, and do it and repeat. And then so every time they write a book, then these people are going to interview you. So every time you write, like, so when you write your book, the idea would be for you to tour these people's shows. And then touring these people's show can take a year worth of work away. But I see, like, for my personality, I want to do the work. So I rather go to people that are not popular. Like, I'd rather make it with people that are not popular than going to the people that are popular. And that's just, it's like a different approach. Cause, like, for instance, if you go to if you make it, you write your book, right? And you're able to send one of these people email that their assistant actually reads, and then in that email is a short clip of you talking about your book, and then they're like, oh, you should get Alexandra Blockton on your show. After you go to if you go to any of these people, like, you're gonna go viral, because these people have large platforms. So their people are gonna, like, they'll make you go viral, and then they'll be like, okay, I think you need to go check out Lewis. Now, a lot of times, depending on your popularity, you would have to pay these people to come on their shows. And that's like the behind the scenes. I'm not trying to pay nobody to go on their show. No, I'm not trying to do that. I want to be on someone's show because they want me to be on it. But if you're not at that level, like if you're brand new, the new kid on the block, then you paying to be on the show. And then that's how they make additional, like, so for instance, you as an author, if you can choose to start your own show, and then people will pay you to be on your show so that you can promote them. That's the thing. But I want to create our own circle. Like you see, like, none of these names, none of them are Black. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's not cool. Like, why didn't I message you the name of a Black person? Now, let me add another person to the list. Oprah. So Oprah's one of these people, but Oprah now is at a higher level. Like, and I'm just looking over here. So, let me go here. Okay, look, I'll let it play.
I'm Oprah Winfrey. Welcome to Super Soul Conversations, the podcast. I believe that one of the most valuable gifts you can give yourself is time. Taking time to be more fully present. Your journey to become more inspired and connected to the deeper world around us starts right now. Born in San Antonio, Brene Brown is a fifth-generation Texan. The oldest of four, Brene was raised with tough, old-fashioned, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, Texas values. It wasn't until her mid-20s that she discovered a deep-seated passion for teaching. And after earning her bachelor's, master's, and PhD, she became a professor at the University of Houston Graduate College of Social Work. Her research focuses on vulnerability, courage, shame. It led Brene to re-examine her own life and gave her the strength to open up about her own spiritual awakening in a 2010 TEDx talk, a regional version of the famous Idea Sharing TED conference that spotlights innovators and thought leaders. Much to Brene's surprise, sharing her fears resonated with people, not just in that Texas auditorium, but around the world, garnering more than 8 million views on TED.com. Brene's written 3 books now based on her groundbreaking research. I Thought It Was Just Me, The Gifts of Imperfection, and her New York Times #1 bestseller, Daring Greatly. I can't even tell you how long people have been saying, you should have Dr. Brene Brown on. You should have Dr. Brene Brown on. And I'm like, who is Dr. Brene Brown? Now, this is so interesting. Your name starts coming up, and I see you in the TED Talk, And then I see you on, I think it was Katie's show. Somebody gives me the book. I'm like, okay, I hear you. I hear you. And now you are here. Oh my God, I know. And when I met you, it felt like, and when I was reading Daring Greatly, I said, oh God, this is everything I know to be true. This is, oh my gosh, I should have written this book. Oh my gosh. So when I met you, it feels like a reunion. It feels like kindred spirits.
Well, I feel like I've always known you.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like I've known you my whole
I
life.
do. I feel that too. Kindred spirits. So I'm excited about Daring Greatly.
Me too.
And I'm excited about you talking to this audience because you watch Super Soul
Oh, I
Sunday.
do.
You talking to this audience about what it means to dare greatly. This came out of the TED Talk, right?
Yeah, it was born of the TED Talk, and it was born of just a dozen years of vulnerability research.
Uh-huh.
And the title itself was a very personal moment in my
Yes.
life. Yeah,
The Theodore Roosevelt quote.
Theodore Roosevelt quote.
Yes. Would you give us that quote?
I will give you the quote.
Which is at the beginning of the book. Yeah.
Yeah, can I tell you a little bit about what the story is
Yes.
behind the quote?
Yeah.
I had done TED, and I was everywhere all of a sudden for the first time. I was on CNN.com. I was doing on NPR interviews, and my therapist tells me, don't read the comments. My husband says, don't read the comments, but I read the comments.
Oh no.
Right.
Oh.
So one day I was reading the comments and I was devastated.
I know. I've
Um,
read comments before. It's just devastating how
It was
nasty
devastating.
people can
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
And they were comments like, of course she's embracing imperfection. If you were Brene Brown, you'd have to. What choice would you have?
Oh.
Or less research, more Botox. Or
Oh.
maybe you'll be worthy in 20 pounds.
Oh.
I mean, these kind, and they're anonymous, which is
Yes.
such
Yeah.
chicken
Mm-hmm.
crapola. I'm not going to cuss during my
Yeah.
thing today. So it's just chicken. So I send Steve to work and I send the kids to school.
Your husband, Steve.
It's my husband, Steve. And I stay in my pajamas and I sit down on the couch and I watch about 10 hours of Downton Abbey reruns and just numb myself out. I eat some peanut butter. I'm just sad. And when it was
Because you read the comments.
because I read the comments and I was like, this is not worth it, man. I'm not doing this anymore. I can't.
Were these comments posted on the TED Talk?
No, that's very curated, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
These were like anonymous on news websites.
Oh, I know.
Right.
Those are the worst.
Like the cesspool of humanity.
Yes, right. Those are the worst.
Right. Yeah. So I'm done with the Downton Abbey and I'm like, I don't want to go back to my world where all that hurt is. So I get out my laptop and I start Googling like, well, what was happening in the US during the Downton Abbey period? And Theodore Roosevelt's quote comes up because So I read it and it says, it's not the critic who counts. It's not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit goes to the man who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred with dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly and who errs and fails and is sometimes victorious. But when he fails, at least he does so daring greatly. And it changed my life, that moment. You know how when you hear something and you're ready?
Yeah.
And three things happened to me in that moment. The first was,
Oh.
that is who I want to be. I want to be courageous. I want to be daring.
You want to be the man in the arena.
I want to be in the arena.
Yeah.
The second thing is, oh my gosh, this is everything I've ever learned about vulnerability.
Yes.
It's not winning, it's not losing, it's showing up and being seen. And the third thing, which was really helpful for me, is from that millisecond forward,
Uh-huh.
I made a commitment that if you are not in the arena getting your butt kicked on occasion, I'm not interested in your feedback.
That's right.
Whoa. I love that.
Period.
Yeah.
Boom. We'll leave it at that one. Anyway, so look, out of all this list, Oprah is the first Black person that I put up, and to me, I'm not so comfortable with that because what that and it's not that these other people are racist or anything like that, but we should have more representation in who gets to be promoted, in terms of self-development. Like right now it's like, and Oprah is like at the top, by the way. So it's not like, this is not about making it a race thing in that sense, but it's about, like Oprah is like, shoot, that's like a luxury, like 5-star hotel, right? in terms of like platform. Oprah has a huge platform. You make it to Oprah's show, like that's like a huge platform. And the other people have huge big platforms too. I don't want to take away from that. But these are all people that, like, if they invite you into their house, into their platform, then it's gonna take, if you got a book that sold 100 copies, like you're gonna go from 100 to like 10,000, you know, it's gonna, like, you know. So, and then this is what happens, and you kind of heard it in the intro. Oprah's fans were telling her, "Yo, you gotta get Brene Brown. You gotta get Brene Brown." So that's kind of like the vibe that I want to have when I'm ready to enter this space, if I ever decide to go into this space. But I don't necessarily, I don't want to go into too much detail, because it's like I'm so focused on the work that I don't really want to think about that other aspect. However, as I work with you, I would be focused on this, because I would want to get you in the circuit. Like, all right, let's get Alexandra out there, you know? And then this is what it means. It means you write a book, you do a talk, you know, you go somewhat viral, like you put energy into like getting your content in front of people. And then what that does is then you become the new kid on the block. So no one's ever heard of Alexandra Blockton right now, right? Well, you write a book, like an autobiography book that has elements. So these people, they haven't really written none of these people that I mentioned have wrote their autobiography yet. So like right now, like they're talking on other topics, like, you know, Daring Greatly, 4-Hour Work Week, whatever, like the books that you're reading, Life Strategies by Dr. Phil, like they're not writing about themselves yet. They're giving value, they're providing value. And then after they provide value, meaning after they give you an insight into some idea or concept, then eventually you'll learn about them. And sometimes they'll tie it into the book or whatever. But the point is they're providing value, and then eventually they'll come up with some autobiography. But I wouldn't say that there's a right or wrong way of doing it, but then there is a pattern as to how these individuals are doing it. But yeah, so like in my opinion, like this is like Tom Bailu, Tim Farriss, like these names over here, these are like record labels, you know, like Columbia Records, Def Jam, Def Row Records, you know, all these record labels. In order to make it in the music industry, back in the day, you had to go through these record labels, right, in order to get promoted. Well, these are like the record labels when it comes to self-development, you know. And then there are more, but these are some of the big names. But then when I'm looking at these names, you know, outside of Oprah, you know, they're all Caucasian. And then what tends to happen, it means that like a percentage of their guests, a small percentage of their guests are going to be people of color, Black or Latino or anything else. The bulk of their guests are going to be people that are Caucasian. Now, does that mean that they're racist? No, it doesn't mean that. But it means that they have a more predominantly Caucasian audience. And by nature, they're going to be requesting, you know, other Caucasian authors, like not just by exposure. But they do have Black guests. I do want to say that. But I believe that we should prepare adults, prepare people, not or young adults, but prepare people of color, prepare Black people, Latino people, Asian people, prepare people to be these individuals that then can open doors for other people, you know? So all that to say is, like, for instance, this show that we're doing here, like, once we have a platform that we have an audience, we can open the door so that people can meet our audience, you know? And then we can be Mary Foley or Russell Brand to people like us, you know what I mean? So that's why I've been thinking so much about putting energy into creating these shows, is because ultimately we gotta tell our own stories, do our own shows, and then be able to like have an impact on our communities by sharing our stories. You know, because I can't wait for Oprah to call me. I can't wait for Tom Bilyeu to call me. You know, and I'm not gonna go chase them either. I'm gonna focus on the work. So, and I think that's, and then the work is doing these shows like this, where then, like, look, right now it's just me and you right now. You know what I mean? No fans, no fans right now. But when
Right.
it's time, it'll be time. And then, like, I guess another reason why, like, I'm getting like extra hype is because, so you're reading all these books, right? And then where I was getting at is, so you got like Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. So that was like 2012. Imagine imagine her newest book. You know what I mean? Like, imagine how much she's grown in 8 years. You know, and then you read that book, and then imagine when then you see her get interviewed by great interviewers like that. Like, these people, they're great interviews. Like, it's not like, I'm not like, they have earned it. You know, that's why they got a good platform, because they have a good way. So you see how they all give like an intro of the person. So usually that intro is like, so Alexandra, you know, oh, you want to be on the Oprah show? Well, send us your bio. And then Oprah will look through your bio. And then depending on, like, Tom Bilyeu, in my opinion, he does the, like, he does the best introductions. Like, if you're going to pay someone to write your bio, you should call Tom Bilyeu. Now, why am I saying that? I'm saying that because then, in order to go on these shows, they basically want to see your resume. You know, so then what's your resume? So then now you, as a beginning author, like, who hasn't really authored anything yet but is interested in it, well, you now you got like a blueprint. Okay, so I got to get a resume. Okay, so how can I get my you see how, like, they talk about their education? So some people focus on getting an education. I was working on a doctorate because I thought that, you know, if I had doctor in front of my name, that's going to be like a leg up. And it would be in that circle, you know, oh, Dr. Julian Ramirez. But then at some point, I got so confident in what I'm doing that I'm like, forget that. If people won't want to read my book because it don't say doctor, then that book wasn't for them. You know what I mean? But then what I'm doing now is I'm going outside of the blueprint. You know, now granted, a lot of these people don't have doctors, so it's not to say that you got to have a doctorate, but it does have some weight. Like, it does have weight. But all I'm saying is, there's this path to where you want to get to, and then these are people that have doors that can help you get there faster. And then what I envision is, I want to be able to open doors as well. That way we can let more people that look like us through this door. Whereas in the other doors, you know, there's a smaller number of people that look like us going through those doors. And then when I say look like us, are you talking about just Black? No, not necessarily, but just poor. Like, and by poor, I mean financially. Like people that come from poverty don't often make it out of poverty, like, statistically speaking. And people that come from poverty don't normally write bestsellers. Like, people that are writing bestsellers are usually like middle class and upper, you know, and their stories don't start from the bottom. You know, doesn't mean that they don't have trauma, doesn't mean that they don't have experiences. However, it's a different, like, that's a different door. You know, they're opening doors for different people. So, and I think that's where, like, the Taboo Free Talk Show, like, that's designed to be able to open doors for young people that were like in the Youth Build program or programs like it. And then the Alliance, you know, like that's like the thought behind that is like, so if you've been through a Youth Build program, you got a story to tell. Well, let's go ahead and let's interview you, collect the story, and then be able to put it out there, you know, and then let's build a team around you, because ultimately having a team around you will allow you to promote your book, promote your content, so that you can get aware and get visibility out in the market, so to speak. And then more people can get access to your content so that you can have an impact. But yeah, so I'm excited about being on this journey because by you reading all these books, it's like
Thank you.
you're building your mental library. It's gonna
Mhm.
make you like it's gonna make you a great interviewer because you're gonna know all the connections. You're gonna be like, oh, okay, that sounds like this author. Oh, you guys kind of like, oh, did you? I heard when you wrote this, it made me think. You see how she was, Brene Brown was quoting, um, uh, um, Roosevelt, was it? I think.
Roosevelt is right here. I got it in the book. Theodore Roosevelt.
Yeah, so she was quoting Theodore Roosevelt. Now, if you're an author that likes to read a lot and you would have read Theodore Roosevelt, the moment you saw Darian Grayling, you would have been like, that sounds like a Theodore Roosevelt quote, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so the people that read have like a richer, like, so for instance, back when we were younger, the TVs weren't so clear, right? Now they got like high definition, they got 8K ultra, like really good looking television screens. And that's what knowledge does. Like if you have a little bit of knowledge about authors, then it's like you're watching it's like in your brain, it's like black and white. It's like you don't got the best picture, but the more you read, like you get crisp pictures, like you're able to see much more connections than if you're not a big reader in whatever topic that you're interested in. So the more you're reading, you're getting like you're going to be able to make these connections. And then what I was saying is then where you can then maximize that is when you start watching them being interviewed. Because then when you listen to their interviews, when they're interviewed by good interviewers, then you start hearing their life stories. And then that's when you start seeing the patterns of of the steps they took, like there's key points in people's lives where people like so for instance, she was talking about when she started reading the comments, right? So her reading the comments took her to a quote unquote sunken place. You know how like Kanye West talk about the sunken place, or like it like depressed her, So then that was a key point where there was a fork in the road, and then she was able to lift herself out of that and then write the next set of books that she wrote. But being able to see these patterns with people that you respect. So like you after you're reading Brene Brown's book, you're gonna be like, oh, I respect her. You read like Life Strategies by Dr. Phil. Oh, I respect him. And then you see them get interviewed and you hear their life story. Like, okay, so then there are patterns here. Like being a successful author doesn't happen by accident. Like millions of people write books that never make it to a bestseller. There's millions of books that haven't been read. In the same way that there's like millions of people who make rap songs that never get heard. So then what is the pattern of the people that are most successful? And then you'll start seeing those patterns when you see them get interviewed, because then you see their life story, you see how they make their choices. And then it puts you in a better position to be like, okay, so this is where I'm at in my journey. Right now, I'm like Brene Brown in 2006, So what does Brene Brown in 2006 mean? She was doing research. She said she did like research for like 10 years or something like that before she wrote her first book, 10 to 12 years, So what does that mean? So right now you're a teacher's aide. So, and then you're learning about advocacy, you're learning about, program culture, professional development. So this is research. Like you're in your research phase, which is why you can be more patient on writing your book, because you're like in research phase. It doesn't mean that you don't have topics that you can already write about. You can already choose to write about certain topics, but in general, you're like in research phase until you're ready to release your book, and then boom, that'll be your first expertise, and then you can go from there. But being able to like get exposed to these books, and then what I'm adding to what you can consider is then taking time to watch your favorite authors be interviewed, so that way
Okay.
you can see another angle to their story. And I think it'll
Okay.
also make their books that much more interesting, because then you'll see what other books they're usually these authors get interviewed when they're releasing a book,
Okay.
and then they basically catch you up on what happened from the last time they wrote the book to this time, to now.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah, that sounds like a dope idea.
I'm excited.
And then what I'll do is in my free time, I'll align with like watching an author, like an interview and stuff. And I know like I get typically busy. I got a lot of stuff going on now, but it still wouldn't hurt to at least watch one out
You could do it on an audio book. I mean, you can
right
do it
one
on the
author
bus.
look one author a week, or like when I'm riding a bus or something, I can use my earplugs and just be listening to it.
Mm-hmm. And then so check out what happens. Like, I listen to so many hours worth of stuff that I listen to it in fast motion. So check out what it sounds like in fast motion.
Okay.
And anonymous comments, you're not in the arena, man.
You're not in the arena.
Put your name on it. Own it. If you got something constructive to say, own it and put it in there.
Yeah, say that to
If
me.
you can't say it in front of me in person, in front of my kids, don't say it. And if you can't say it to me in person in front of my kids, duck.
I love
Be
that.
like,
I love
Yeah.
that. So you go and do, how did you get invited to do that TED Talk?
well, the first TED
The
Talk.
TEDx.
The TEDx, yeah. So it was the first time the curators put together Houston TEDx. They invited me to speak, and it was a complete God thing for me because I said, yes, I'd love to. And I get there, and I don't even remember them saying, hey, we're going to videotape this or anything. And I thought, I'm going to do some major crazy experimenting because this is University of Houston where I teach. It was like home. It's Houstonians, my people. And so I said, I'm going to try being vulnerable and talk about vulnerability. It was a complete experiment. I even told Steve when I left, I was like, this could be a disaster, man.
Wow.
And then 8 million people would watch it.
8 million people around the world have
Right.
watched it. When you did the TED Talk last year, you were talking, 500 people may see it.
Right.
And then another couple
Right.
have it on YouTube.
Yes. And when I was done with it, I came home. I had to come home early from the event because I was hosting my daughter's 10th birthday party.
Mhm.
And I remember I had the worst vulnerability hangover ever. I was like, I just admitted to being crazy in front of 500 people.
Yes.
Having a therapist,
Breakdown.
spiritual awakening. Yeah.
In 2007, Brene was researching and writing about living wholeheartedly when she realized for the first time she wasn't walking the walk or talking the talk. It hit her hard. Brene calls it a full-on breakdown, landing her in intense therapy where she began to recognize it as a spiritual awakening. And that's the story Brene told to the 500 people at TEDx.
Like you're not supposed to break down as a human, but as an academic, you need spiritual awakening.
Yes. Because it's all about the research
Yeah.
and the numbers,
Right.
stats.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Intelligence equals
Yes.
non-believing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So were you a believer before the breakdown? What kind of believer were you? What was your faith-based practice?
Well, I was born baptized in the civil church and raised Catholic because I went to Catholic schools in New Orleans. When I went off to school, I guess it was early 80s, it was the beginning of, there was no line between politics and religion anymore.
Mhm.
And I felt disenfranchised. And I felt like people were using theology that I believed in to push social beliefs I didn't believe in. And I just got really confused and super.
All right, so you saw how I sped it up and I kept speeding it up. So the more you listen to, then your ears get exercise and then you can hear things in faster speed. So what that means is like you're saving time. Like you can literally train your ears to listen to something in half the time. So this 35-minute TED Talk, you can listen to it in 17 minutes if you put it on double speed. So it's like, imagine how much more you can consume if you can hear audiobooks on double speed, but it's practice. Like you got to train your ear. Like I can't, like that interview, I wouldn't be able to hear in 2.0. The most I'd go is like 1.5, like, a time and a half. But then what that means is that, in a bus ride, you can listen to something that would have normally took you 35 minutes. You can listen to it in, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, So that's the benefit of audio, is that you could speed it up. You could speed it up. It's like speed reading, except if you can exercise your ear, then you can capture more of it.
Okay.
So, yeah. But that's.
Thank you. This is very beneficial. It's very beneficial for me to wake you up, Julie.
Yeah, look. And I woke up. You got me up, but I'm. Oh my God, it's already. I like 11. I like the 11 o'clock. So today I didn't get a chance to rest sooner, but let's keep it at 11. And if you're able to make it, great. If not, it's all good.
Are you gonna be able to make it? Why you talking about me?
I had company.
Oh
What
yeah,
happened?
yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So like the company didn't leave literally till like 9, close to 10, probably even closer to 10. So I closed my eyes like at 10:15, I think. Was it 10:15, Bessie?
So it was like you just trying to just doze off and take a quick, short, relaxing nap, and it ended up more than that.
I thought they would wake me up. I didn't realize they were just gonna let me go.
Oh, okay.
Or Jaden was probably waiting for you to come on to wake me up. But then if you never came on, he probably would have never woke me up. But then I would have been on here as soon as I did wake up. I would have been on here at 2 a.m, like, all right, here goes. Like I feel like, I ain't having no new baby, so I should be able to come on. What's the big deal? Even if it's just for a little bit,
Right.
So
tomorrow it'll be 10 o'clock my time, 11 o'clock your time, and we good.
Yep. It's been dope.
All righty then. I'll see you tomorrow, okay?
All right, later. Okay. JJ. Is Jaden sleeping, baby? 9? 9, is Jaden sleeping? Well, let's just close it with a Prince 8 song. Why not? Tune in. The Black Hair Party presents the Real Talk Show, where we talk about friendship, love, and purpose. Friendship has everything to do with aura. Love is amor, and purpose is about saving time. Let's now find the track to close this production. And look, I'm about to go to this one over here. Oh, look, we'll play a video. Let's play a video.
Jacoby, you're gonna come visit me, right?
You ain't dreaming, yeah. You ain't dreaming, yeah. You ain't dreaming, yeah. You ain't dreaming, yeah. You ain't, 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 you ain't dreaming, yeah. You ain't dreaming, yeah. You ain't dreaming, yeah. You ain't dreaming, yeah. You ain't, you ain't, you ain't, you ain't, you ain't, you ain't. I'm going up, I'm getting bigger. I'm getting built like an ass figure. These bitches on me, they some gold diggers. I'm 10 toes, never fall with it. Flow so hot, but I'm cold with it. Stay in my lane, on the road with it. Chasing that bag, I'm a go getter. You stuck on me, cause I do it better. Heart so cold, can't describe how it feels. New to the pagans, why pop pills. Met a lot of fakers, it's hard to find real. I need my leg on my phone when you feel. Remember when you was my lady. Now these thoughts just drive me crazy. Fake love, what you really gave me. Why you call my phone, talking like you hate me. You ain't dreaming, yeah. You ain't dreaming, yeah. You ain't dreaming, yeah. You ain't dreaming, yeah. You ain't, you ain't, you ain't, you ain't, you ain't, you ain't, you ain't. You ain't dreaming, yeah. You ain't dreaming, yeah. You ain't dreaming, yeah. You ain't dreaming, yeah. You ain't, you ain't, you ain't, you ain't, you ain't, you ain't, you ain't.
And that's that.